It all started with the Mount Steve Elliot.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. And thank you, Mark, for warming up the crowd for the Disneyland. We did not plan it. I swear it was totally one of those fluky things. But I'm going to speak to you tonight about a different experience, taking it from the historical side of how did these two magical places that we have in America come into being. And to start our story, we have to go back to the 30s and 40s. Walt Disney is a prodigious filmmaker who has had such hits as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Dumbo, and Pinocchio. Walt is a visionary. And on a weekend excursion with his daughters out at an amusement park, a great opportunity suddenly comes to him. And in Walt's own words in an interview at the time, he said, "Here I was, sitting on a park bench, watching my two daughters have fun on a merry-go-round. And I'm thinking, I want to build a place where I can get in on the action." Yes, Walt wants to build a family theme park where everybody can go on the rides together and mom and dad are not just sitting on a park bench passively watching the kids have fun. And so he starts to come up with ideas. Now, unfortunately, World War II happens and his project has to be derailed because he loses a lot of his animators and his team to the war effort. He keeps the idea with him, and in 1953 he decides the time is right for him to build a theme park. His first thought is to locate it on the studio lot because he has had lots of requests for people to come and visit the studios to see where all the magic happens. And he quickly decides it's not going to be a big enough parcel of land for him. So off he goes to buy 160 acres of land in Anaheim, California. This project is going to require a lot of capital. And so Walt needs to get creative. And he approaches a new medium at the time, which is television. And he approaches one of the big networks, ABC, and he pitches, "Invest in me, and I'm going to build this magical theme park. And in return, I will provide you with an hour show weekly, talking about the theme park, but also showing some of my animation and other projects that I have going." ABC is thrilled because it gives them new programming, and so the partnership is formed. Now, this fact astounded me. It took 1 year to build Disneyland. And it was $17 million. Now, inflation adjusted for today, that's $143 million, which doesn't seem like a lot of money, but they certainly got bang for their buck. They revolutionized the theme park, amusement park business. It's a great hit with the American public. But it does have its challenges, and two of them are related to the land. The 160 acres isn't enough space for all of Walt's ideas. He's frustrated because he can't keep adding to the park. He's tied in. The second challenge, and Mark alluded to this in his speech, he wants the guests to feel they're in another place. Well, Disneyland is so successful, strip malls and fast food restaurants and motels spring up all around the property, which in Walt's mind ruins the experience for the guest because now they're being bombarded with the real world instead of the magical place that he has created. So in the early 60s, he creates a company called Maypo, which is the first two letters of Mary Poppins, and he starts buying up land in Orlando. He buys 27,000 acres of land, 43 square miles. This is the size of 2 Manhattans or 1 San Francisco, whichever perspective will work for you. But he is not going to run out of land in Florida. He's also going to make this truly an immersive experience for his guests. Unfortunately, he passes away before construction can begin on Orlando. His brother, who was due to retire, Roy Disney, steps into the front and takes over the effort because he knows this was Walt's last big dream. And so construction begins in 1968 and the park opens October 1st, 1971. Not only do they build a theme park, as again Mark has alluded to. They build a monorail system, they build 3 hotels, and they build a campsite for people who want to come and travel as trailers and tents. Within 2 years, 10 million people have visited the park. It's a huge success from the beginning. Now, both parks share a great deal of similarities. The genius of Walt was, his idea was the guests were going to become stars of the show. And so this does a couple of things. One, it gives some very unique terminology to the people that work there and things that go on at the park. Everybody who works at either park, you're not an employee, you're not an associate, you are a cast member, which has a connotation of you are part of the performance for the guests. Everything that takes place where the guests are is considered to be on stage. And if you're behind the scenes, you are backstage. And he uses those terms to help, I think, really hammer home the point to the cast members that they are part of the production. The other thing that he does, which is mind-boggling to me, he builds tunnel systems underneath the park so that the cast members, if they're going from one land, let's say Tomorrowland, and they're heading over to Frontierland, Walt didn't want the image of that cast member going over in Tomorrowland garb, walking over into Frontierland and ruining the experience for the guest. So this way they could tunnel back and forth, change costumes underneath. The guest wouldn't see any of that stuff, and it really helped to make the experience stronger for the guests. The other thing that Walt does is the theming is carried to the nth degree. So the trash can in Tomorrowland looks different than the trash can in Frontierland. The cast members are dressed differently, as I've already alluded to. And music is played differently over the PA system. So if I'm in Frontierland, I may hear banjo music playing. If I'm in Tomorrowland, I hear synthesized music. So it's really an immersive experience. It has changed the way theme parks have been built and developed since, because now there are theme parks. They're not amusement parks anymore due to Walt's vision. And to end my speech, I will just sum up an excerpt from the dedication that was read during the Disney World opening. Walt Disney World is a tribute to the philosophy and life of Walter Elias Disney, and the talents and dedication and the loyalty of the entire Disney organization that made Walt Disney's dream come true. May Walt Disney World bring joy and inspiration and new knowledge to all who come to this happy place, a magic kingdom where the young at heart of all ages can laugh, play, and learn together. Thank you.